Captain's Log Supplemental.
So, Miss Vicky.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when we were watching those WRL events and some of those grid life events where you used to see the in-car video and it had like the cameras seeing front and back, but it also could see all the telemetry and everything that was going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the ones that we liked were taken by the Sentinel system. Remember James came on our podcast earlier?
Right.
You know, we have no excuse since he lent us one for trial and demonstration purposes. We should actually probably put that in one of our cars. Maybe two.
I really think we should.
I think we should.
I know.
Because then we'd look like the immature endurance racing team that we are. Oh, wait, I mispronounced that, didn't I? Sorry, my bad. We could
So what does
have-
the Sentinel system do?
We could have 3 cameras with picture-in-picture. We could have, if we ever get the AIM system to work, open invitation to anybody from AIM to come on and give us a little bit of love. We need some help. And then we could have all our telemetry on there. And then we can have it streamed live into the paddock or around the world to our millions of fans. We're apparently very popular in Kenya right now. Don't know why, but that's fine. And it can integrate all the available race statistics from like Race Hero and everything. So we could actually see how we're doing on video. We wouldn't even have to carry around our phone anymore. Live.
I love it.
From the great halls of their house, there are assembled 3 who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team. Dominating with Dawson.
Ben Dawson. We've got somebody who is getting better at racing and had some questions about one particular area. And I said, I know a guy that answers questions.
Bill, are you talking about a listener question that we received from a listener?
It is a listener question. And it actually applies to me a little bit right now. But we can get into it.
Okay, I mean, I've been having a rough week. I think I've disclosed that pretty plainly. And you also apparently know that one of my favorite things in the world are questions from listeners. So this is a great gift. Let's call it a mitzvah and let's get busy.
There we go. So there comes a point when you're driving on track.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you start to more approach the actual true limit of the track and of the car.
Okay.
And there's this inner monologue that goes in where you either have a combination of self-preservation, car preservation, and or let's be quite honest about it, a little bit of fear inside you that can well up there. And it prevents you.
What's this word? That last word you said? What is that one?
It's foreign to you. It's French.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
And
La fear.
Yeah, Fiero.
Okay. Oh, love those. Yes,
old
totally.
Pontiac. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they were saying, like, what to do to deal with that and work around it, and is conquering it possible?
If you had to guess, Bill, what feedback I would give, not a joke, not like a Ben doesn't have a fear joke, but like a real, how would Ben answer this? Because I've said this so many times on the podcast. I just want to see if you would be able to parrot it, or if I can pop up with it and surprise you.
Suck it up, you pansy.
No, yeah, but close probably. No, one of the things I always harken back to is go and find video of somebody doing what you're trying to do on a track. So if you're driving a Miata, go watch a spec Miata and see what a pretty optimized version of your platform can do, and then try to drive up to that. Or kind of compare yourself to that. In person, if you're in a DE group and you're driving an E30, there's Miatas and E30s in your DE group. I'm probably I'm probably a generation off about what people bring to DEs anymore, but you know what I mean?
Not many E30s get out in the DE groups anymore, Ben.
It's so funny. When I started, it was just only DE. It was only Miatas and E30s. Like I was so jealous of the E30 guys because they had so much room for activities and they were a track car, and I had a Miata. But anyway, if you're out there with a bunch of BRZs or something like that, you kind of want to be looking for cars that have similar weights of yours, similar kind of tires. Like I wouldn't try to compare myself if I was running a Chevy Impala on Hertz rent-a-car tires to somebody out there in a similar weight V8 stock car. You know what I mean? Try to get yourself aligned with somebody at the track who's driving something similar to yours, especially if they're going faster than you, because that's when you're going to see like, oh man, that dude just stuffed his Miata through there. I didn't see his brake lights one time, and I've been braking like at least once, here. So it's a you have to overcome your fear by seeing what other people can get away with. And in my case, it started early with me when I was racing karts. I was racing karts on dirt, and we were racing on slicks, and I was like, I'm racing slicks on slick clay, and these guys are just going through the corner, like blipping the gas. Like those guys, if this track was a 5th-mile oval track, it was the kind of track that had good banked corners, and I would watch carts go by, and you'd be standing there at the fence, and you'd see them go down the straight, and I'd hear boom, and they would hit the gas again. That's all they would do. You didn't ever use your brakes, and to get turned in, all people would do would be just an honest foot all the way up and slap it back down. And I was like, no way this tire is going to keep me from like slinging off into the hay bales. I can't drive mine that way. And I just had to kind of keep going in and following people in and just letting off less and less and less. And it turned out that my cart was an old enough one that had enough flex. I found out I could run the whole track flat out because my cart flex took out. I didn't need to let up because my cart was flexed enough to like lose the speed in the straightaway. So I just use that as sort of an illustrative point, is you follow to see what you can get away with, and then you explore past that with your own vehicle. So if you follow, and you're beating people, then you're doing pretty well. If you're starting to pass people in a similar platform. In my case with the cart, it got pretty extreme where I was like, I found out I could run the track flat out, and I still wasn't beating that many people. But you find out what your platform is capable of, and you work your way up to it. So I say all that to say it's a progression, and it's good that this person has hit a progression. We're like, oh crap, I'm doing okay, but the next few things are going to take another level of curiosity, courage, and consistency, right?
Yep.
The 3 C's. I just made that up.
Yeah, there you go. Those diamond people got nothing on you, man. So it's just like they always say: if the car in front of you can go through the train crossing, you can too, right? Isn't that how?
Exactly right. If Luther is going to jump out of the second story window, you better do it too. No,
okay.
I kid, but I guess at least in my brain, I'm always just thinking about relativity. This car was able to run this lap, why wasn't I able to? Or they only did it this, I can do it that. I'm always trying to kind of class and see where I fit in, and part of that is out there on track too. Like, one of the ways I learned to get faster through like South Bend at VIR was just being out there doing DE track sessions or racing or time trialing, and I would go up there, and I'd been braking too hard there. I was like, I was still probably in my Miata, but I was like, man, I'm watching this guy in an E36. He's going faster at the top of the hill than I am, and he weighs more. And that dude is just, I see that guy just blipping his brakes just to honk the nose down and go. I'm like, if this guy is going, he's got a heavier car than me. He's going faster than I am. If all he's got to do is blip his brakes, and I'm kind of then getting off, that shows me that I'm braking too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So I mean, these are literal ways. I'm just kind of thinking back through, how did I figure out how to do this? How did I figure out how to do that? And I mean, that's when I can think of where I just learned on the fly from being out on track. Like, oh crap, I've been over slowing for this because I can just see how quickly that person was on and off the brake, and I know I can do that because I'm doing I've got a lighter car and I'm not going as fast. So next time by, I tried that. I'm like, that worked, and still felt like I could do more. So you find ways you can push further into the boundaries, into the, what do they call it, limit. Yep.
I think the things that we've talked about many, many times on Dominating with Dawson is it's small increments. Don't sit here and I used to brake like it with a 6 pedal at the 4 board, and this time I'm going with a 2 pedal at the 1 board. Let's work our way up to it, and be willing to try something different, because if you keep doing the same stuff, you're going to have the same lap time. If you don't change
Yeah.
something, it's not going to change. So
It helps if you're comfortable making steering adjustments and timing adjustments on the fly.
Mhm.
So the more seat time you have in the car is also going to be something that helps you push further by knowing that, all right, hey, if I go through here and I hit the throttle, a little bit earlier than I'm used to, and the car tries to kick out on me, can I handle it?
right.
And if your answer is, no, I'm scared of what's going to happen when the car kicks out, don't try it. But if you're like, yeah, I'll just kind of let the wheel go, kind of a little opposite lock, and let it catch it and go, then you're probably ready for that.
Yeah. And
It may not have happened to you yet, but you should be ready to correct. And if you are, you're good to go.
and you have to be far enough along where you actually know what you're doing consistently. Like, it doesn't, if you don't know where you're braking, you don't know if you're braking sooner or later
Right.
or harder or softer. And that's part of the issue. You need to be consistent enough to have
Sure.
a knowledge of it. And and then you've got to be willing to try and do things just a little bit better. And I think the thing that
Right.
Vicky's found that's helping her be willing to do this is she's starting to not worry about, hey, what happens if
Yep.
the car gets a little away from me? And she's pretty confident. I don't know if she's confident enough to take herself off mute, but she's pretty confident that that's a hint. Take yourself off mute.
I'm off. I'm here we go.
There you go. Okay. She's pretty confident she can catch the car, because she's like, well, what happens if? And I'm like, yeah, what happens if? And she's like, well, nothing. I would just catch the car. And I'm like, exactly. So do it.
Haven't you driven in the snow? I mean, you know what you're doing. You know how to do it.
Yep. That's what I started doing. I know. Well, and that's the crazy part, is that when I'm racing and I'm pushing it, it's yes. At first it was like really, really scary, but the more I'm being exposed to it, the more I'm like, oh, okay. Now,
Yeah.
I just kind of catch it. But you know what? Skid pads, guys, skid pads. If you have an opportunity to go to a skid pad, that's where your biggest growth is going to be.
Catching a car.
Catching a car.
buddy.
You gotta learn how to catch a car.
Yeah.
Or drive in the snow.
I think people use the term plateau, you know what I mean, to describe where they are. Like, I've hit a plateau.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But if you're not racing around on the flat top of that plateau and making consistent lap times on top of your plateau, you're not really on a plateau yet. So consider, how much of a plateau am I on? And let me say plateau 20 more times to make it sound as weird as I can.
Right.
Consider, how on a plateau am I? And if you truly are convinced, like, I'm just out here running the same lap over and over again, it's time to start changing things up. And you don't have a clear idea how to do it. You don't have a faster compatriot to kind of follow through. One thing that I've heard advice I've heard from a pro to somebody else, this is secondhand advice, but I've heard this person say, just try going, if you're used to being able to go through this turn at 65 miles an hour, try going through at 68. You know what I mean? Try everything one slight layer faster and see if you get away with it. Some stuff you'll get away with it. Some stuff is going to be too much. The stuff that's too much, you throw that attempt away, but the stuff that you pulled off, suddenly that's your new speed for that corner. You know what I mean? So if you got nothing else to tether your attempt to, maybe just try a few more miles an hour here and there where you feel safe. And when you get away with that, try it somewhere else.
Yeah, I think what Bennett told me was, see if you can drive one shift higher.
Yeah, that's another thing to try too. It especially helps with saving fuel, which we just talked about in the prior episode. Yeah, but if you can haul that is another great exercise to try if you're trying to find speed and find places you could be faster. Is go around, if you were running this corner, pretty wound out, and they're good. Try it and forth to see what happens. You never know. It could be with your platform and the way your stuff works. Going through instead of going through there in third gear at 6,000 RPMs, going through there fourth gear at 4,500 might suit your whole thing better, and it might be less bound up. You never know. So I think it's a great exercise. Even if it doesn't yield you faster times all the way around the track, it might yield you a few places around the track where you're like, oh shit, being one gear up than what I'm used to does work better here. For sure worked that way for me with Hogpin and VIR for a long time. I used to always be slamming down through there in third gear in the Miata, which kind of made sense. You come out like completely wound out and you'd have to grab fourth gear on the way out, but also great opportunity to do a money shift in that instance. And no real speed, and there was no real speed gain to keeping the car wound out and third gear all the way out to the exit of that turn.
Right.
So yeah, that's a great idea. I think you're just trying to kind of expand your horizons, see where you fit in, and you kind of feel like you plateaued. That's a super good idea. Try running everything one gear up from what you're used to doing. So if you're used to running through here, second, if yours is used to be a second gear corner before you try it in third, see what happens. Your car may be a lot happier.
So, and that was another thing that we were talking about on another previous Dawson was speedometer versus RPMs.
Not concerned with the speedometer at all.
Well,
really,
no,
I keep saying mile per hour, but really, if I'm referencing one gauge or the other, just to kind of say I'm doing this many RPM through this corner, that's what I'm looking at RPM,
right,
not
right,
not
and I think
Sorry.
well, no, and that's also gear positioning with your RPMs. Like, where should you be with that? And that is something that is racecraft, but is something that I am just understanding, because I think, again, at my last race,
you used up all the gas.
Well, but yeah. Besides that, I did. I chuggled that MF. I chuggled that mofo.
Hell yeah, you did. Going ham.
Vicky, we're trying to conserve gas. We're trying to make it 2 hours and 15 minutes. Trying to conserve gas.
We're also trying to have fun and blow everybody's nips off. So you did a great job. Good job, Vicky.
Right. Okay, so here's where I am when you were just talking about plateauing, is that now I have a lot of stuff that's going into automatic mode. Okay.
Like
when you first hop on the track out there, guys, everything is real. You have so much input that's happening that as you start moving forward, that stuff becomes background. It becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it too much anymore. You already know you have to lift your eyes up. You already know where your eyes are supposed to be on the track. You already know generally where you're supposed to be shifting at. But now, at the last race for me, was that all that stuff is now in the background. And now I'm thinking, I need right now I have to think of other things that are more important now. It's like fuel conservation. Where are my RPMs? Well, now I do. RPMs. What actual gear should I be in to manage the RPM? See, that's where my confusion is. It's like going flat out. Yes, flat out in second, flat out in third, flat out in fourth. And then leveling. And I'm not looking at speedometer anymore as much as I'm focusing now on shifting to RPMs. When before everything was like, I'm going to get around this track as fast as I can, which is going to be like 105 to 110 plus, or anywhere between 90 and 105. Okay.
Depends on which car we're
on my straightaway. And you're always thinking about fast lap time. But now I'm after last race and the fuel conservation situation that we were in. Now it's
not all of us.
Right now, now it's not about going around the track as fast as I can. Now it's because I got a situation where, guys, I need gas, and I had lost like 5 laps, because I had to slow down, and everybody that I worked to pass are now like passing me, and I'm stuck behind the Buell-Lac, right? I'm racing the freaking Buell-Lac because I'm trying to save the gas because I'm waiting for the guys to get suited up. Yeah. Yeah.
The Cadillac motor, motor.
So I was getting so angry. Now this is where I was no longer purple mist. I was I'm like, these guys, you're killing me. I need gas.
I can't even beat the Buell motor Cadillac. Well, listen. So check this out. You brought up some good points. Yes, when I say carry a few more miles an hour out there, I mean kind of like I definitely mean I'm a few hundred more RPM or something like that, because I'm only driving the race car. If it's got attack, that's what I'm looking at first before I'm ever trying to just kind of cross-reference. Like, I'm going this fast. Like, I might reference how fast I'm going if the car has an accurate speedometer in there, but it's not. It's just for curiosity. Like, I'm driving the car off the tack as far as like I need to shift here, I need to do that. So, driving your race car off the tack. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about your transition where I'm driving this thing off the RPMs, right?
I used to be looking at my speedometer. Now I'm looking at my RPMs.
So that's got 2 benefits. You've mentioned fuel conservation. driving off the track. That also has benefits in what other conservation? Bill,
Car conservation, preservation.
engine conservation. So you're watching your attack also to make sure that you're not revving too high, and that you're paying attention to like, oh crap. Like luckily, like Reed's car has a chip. I never hit it this past weekend, but there are definitely times where I've been like doing something else, like I gotta pass this guy. So then I hear the car, I'm like,
Right.
oh yeah, let me shift. But that should be rare, and you should be watching your attack to kind of keep you from getting up there. You can use it. You can use your attack in a number of ways: to preserve fuel, to save your engine, to know what the hell's going on. It's all good.
Miss Vicky,
Yes.
think of it this way.
Mm.
Every RPM, that's a revolution of the crankshaft per minute, right?
Right.
Oh, really?
It is. So each one of those revolutions makes one or two or three, depending on your engine, one or two or three cylinders go boom. And every time your cylinder goes boom, you have now used up gas.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do less of those circles and less of those booms, use less gas. So when your husband calls in an hour into a 2.5 hour stint and says, how much gas do you have? Like 3/4 or so? And you say less than half.
I'm saying, what?
Now let's go back. When your husband calls in demanding that you unreasonably demanding that you try to drag this 10-gallon fuel tank in an old ass Chevy truck for the last 2.5 hours on track, you go, hey Bill, be ready with the fuel jugs because I'm coming and I'm staying in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying.
She almost did some of that.
I did. That's such a cool.
They kept yelling. They're like, "Well, wait till the fuel light comes on." I'm like, there is no fuel light.
There is
like,
fuel light.
And I'm like, I've never seen the fuel light.
I've never
seen the fuel light, and I don't want to have the toe of shame because I freaking ran out of gas on the track.
Well, Bill, I'm sorry for your fascist fuel aims, but it sounds like Vicky had a great time, and I'm not apologizing for her, or she's not apologizing either. Don't you apologize?
She did. So we're going to get off of race fuel conservation and go back to the scary thing.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So pretend we're on the same subject, not the last one we just did. The other thing you can do to get over this is drive with somebody, with somebody else in your car, use an instructor or a coach or data, or there's a whole bunch of different ways to do it, but you'll see what can be done.
Yes, enabling is important. The instructor in your car can do it for you. Like, hey, go, you can go, hit it. So somebody can enable you in your own car. You can enable yourself with video. It's a great point. You're like, yeah, let me see what I can do. Have an instructor come drive your car with you, riding along, go ride with your instructor. Any time you can be in the car with somebody else driving is valuable, even if they're driving badly. It's going to show you something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, if let's just use Ben as an example. If I go to Ben and I say, Ben, can you give me a reference lap of this car for me at VIR? You know your way around. You can definitely drive. He's going to go out there. We may or may not, depending on the car, we may or may not go out together. He's going to go out there. He's going to put down a reference lap that's well within his capabilities, but closer to the limit and probably several seconds faster than you. And you'll see, hey, not only did he do this, it was relatively relaxed. He had the extra ballast of a luxury mammal such as myself in the passenger seat, and he wasn't even pushing it yet. So it shows you that the car is able to do it when operated in a more proper manner. And I'm not saying Ben operates a car perfectly properly. I'm saying it's more proper than you are. And the same thing can be said for other instructors and other quality race car drivers that you may or may not be friends with in the paddock, or this may be a great way to become friends with the paddock. You walk up to Tom O'Gorman and say, Tom, could you give me a reference lap in my car? And he'd be like, hell yeah, let's go do this.
Hell yeah, we'll do it. Absolutely.
Yes, if you make me, I will. Things like that. And that could be it could be very valuable. And then you find out exactly, I'm at least X time slower than I could be. And ideally, if you have data, you can look at the data, or if you're Ben, you can have somebody look at it for you and show you what the differences are. And you'll be like, oh, wow, they carried 3 more miles an hour into this turn, or they broke 150 feet later than I did. And, use that as you will and say, oh, the car can do these things. And it's not, it didn't come home with on fire or broken. So
That's right. It's like that's like a big version of my thing. When I first started playing guitar, I had this black Fender guitar. I'm like, something must be wrong with this thing. 'Cause I can't learn shit on it. Like, some real teenager. Like I started playing guitar in eighth grade, and like some high school senior came to my house for some reason, like hanging out with my brother, and he picks up my guitar and like blasts out some Aerosmith song, and I'm like, well, the guitar's fine. So yeah,
Exactly.
I was a reference laugh for my guitar. I was like, well, there ain't nothing wrong with that thing. It's like, to me, my biggest example of that was a huge blessing for me is this. I was out instructing at some track day, and we were just out there trying to test our race car, and I found out my student was some guy in like a mid '80s Pontiac Grand National. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It was one of those. He had a Pontiac Grand National, and you go up there, you're like, what's this boomer going to be all about? Like, this ain't a track car. It's going to be fun. But this guy was legit. He had like 700 horsepower, like turbo engine in there, and 700 horsepower, all these intercoolers and systems. Like, we got in there. It was like I was in some sort of spaceship, some sort of 80s spaceship, all these buttons and like things things to do to maintain all that power and take care of it or whatever. I don't know. And so we rode around. He had a great time. I was able to kind of help him, point and shoot better with his car. All this guy wanted to do is go out and just rip shit in the car on a road course. So I got to hang out with that guy all weekend and help him rip shit. He had a great time, but he's like, hey, I would love to see what this thing could do. And I was like, I would love to see what this thing could do too. If somebody's got to spec me out, I'm probably not gonna be like, yeah, let me go drive your spec me out. I'm not trying to incur the risk of driving students' cars that often. But when this guy with the 700 horsepower turbo Grand National was like,
oh, geez,
I would love to see what this thing can do. We're like really getting warmed up out there. I was like, oh, buddy. And we go out there, and I don't think we made an entire lap before that car started dinging and bells and whistles started going. I'm like, danger to manifold, shut it down. It's like, I don't think we even did a whole lap, but like I had to bring it to pits. So it could be a pretty big difference between where you think you are at your danger level and what the real danger level is. But I've never felt so blessed as when this guy turned to me. I was like, would you mind taking this thing out? And I'm like, yeah, buddy.
Indeed. Yeah.
That's a good idea, though, is have a reference for sure to see how far your car will go.
Definitely.
It's probably, especially if you're relatively new, first couple of years, even longer for some people, it's probably significantly farther than you think it can. So
yeah, and if this racer continues to struggle with pace, whoever they are, feel free to send me a message with some of your video. We can just talk about it one-on-one, and I'll see if I can help out. Wow, I couldn't even hear what you said there.
It goes straight to the OnlyFans account. That's awesome.
God.
I am happy to help. If anybody else
his OnlyFans is all cars.
That's right.
Yeah, it's all car confessions. Yeah. So,
why
it's
are
all
you
cars with sexy music.
Speaking of this, why are you always driving with bare feet, Ben? Is there something going on that we need to know about?
Well, wouldn't you like to know? Subscribe and find out. But I am serious. I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal, but if we have any listeners out there who are struggling for pace, would like just to hear a second opinion about it, shoot me some video. I'm happy to take a look at it and see if I can help out, because I'm pretty good at helping people get better at driving.
That's right. Just drop an email at benthehobbitdawson@gmail.com.
You should see the hair on these toes, baby.
That's right. The hair's on the top of his feet.
That's so weird. I'll send out. Hey, if it'll help get us some engagement, and people will send me some video to watch, I will send out foot pics. I don't care.
That's right. There we go.
Apparently.
That's an offer you just don't get on other podcasts. But
foot pics immediately on demand. No problem. Okay.
The things you never thought you'd hear on Garage Airs and Training.
That's right. We're here for it. We just want to connect with you however you want to connect. Okay?
That's right. If you want socks, we got socks. It's fine.
Perry, used socks only run about.
That's right.
25.
That's right. 125 chipped. But it was chip limited.
FOB to your dock or whatever, ship 125.
That's right. That's right. We might actually have to make one of these damn sites, but okay, that's fine. Thank you, Ben.
Hey, thanks for having me. Night.